everyone, and welcome back to the United Star. It's game week 6 time in the Fantasy Premier League, and we are back with Shivan, who has taken a 1 week off, but he is back now. In the United Star League that so many of y'all have joined, Tanmay Shah is leading with 359 points. He's basically consistently captained Harry Kane, and that is the way to go, it seems like, at the moment. The highest point scorer, though, is Cristiano Mata. Incredible name there. 95 points, and as you
Wow.
can see on your screen, points all around. Apart from Mitchell, who got 1 point for him, everyone else has got more than the sort of normal two. And of course, he captained Bruno Fernandes, who seems to be back in form. So yeah, if you haven't joined the United Star League, do join it. The links are in the description, and we're going to give the winner a jersey of their choice for next season. So let's see if Tanmay can continue his place at the top or someone will knock him off. Sean, what are your views going into this week? What are the key transfers you're looking at, and what fixtures are you eyeing?
Okay, so we all know it's been a crazy first 5 games of the season, but I think now we can pinpoint the teams that are going to do well and that are consistently have been doing well. Because otherwise, we've had like 1 week, 1 week teams who've done really well 1 week. Like Leicester did really well against City, stuff like that. But I think we can pinpoint teams like Everton and Spurs who've over a period of time done consistently well and will score points. So I think those two teams you should have at least one or two players from each team. So I think Harry Kane and Heung-min Son are the ones to look out for. They both got double-digit scores last week, and they got three great fixtures. So they have Burnley away, Brighton at home, and West Brom away, which are three great fixtures, all captainable fixtures for them. So if you have one of them, I think you should look to get the other one. And if you have none, I think you should at least look to get one of them this week, especially considering how high their ownership will be. So definitely look to get one of them in, and otherwise players like James Rodriguez and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, they should be in your teams by now. I know they've risen in price a lot. They are like 8 million and 7.8 right now, but they are the two players who are on form and they're looking to get points every week.
Right. You raise a very valid point about doubling up on these two teams. What managers have to realize is that it's not about getting players from Liverpool and Man City and doubling up on them. It's about doubling up on players who are actually performing and who are in form. So that
Yeah.
is one thing you have to keep in mind. Having said that, a lot of managers are doubling or even tripling up on Aston Villa. Now, Shivan, what's your view on that? Is Aston Villa just shining too bright and they're gonna crash soon, or do you think they can keep this performance up because they have played good football? So, and additionally to that, would you get Ross Barkley in, Jack Grealish in, or then do you go for Ollie Watkins?
So if I look at a team, if they're underperforming, overperforming, I look at their expected goals. And Aston Villa actually have had a quite high expected goals, and they've had low expected goals conceded throughout the first 4 games of the season. They've only played 4 games, and still they've had a high number of big chances and a high number of expected goals. And also, they've only conceded 2 goals this season. So without a doubt, Emi Martinez is the best goalkeeper this season, best value. He's also had the most baseline bonus points, so he's making passes completed and he's making saves as well. So he's gonna get you those bonus points as well. He's kind of like the new Nick Pope for this season. So I think if you want to make a keeper transfer and if you have money for Emi Martinez, he's the best long-term keeper for this season. In terms of attack, I really like Jack Grealish because he's playing that left wing role where he's getting so many shots in the box. He's always in on goal, and he's that talisman basically. Ross Barkley we saw against Leicester played a little bit deeper because Conor Hourihane is now I think out of favor. So Barkley's gonna play more deeper. So I think he's a good option at 5.9 million, but I prefer Jack Grealish for 1 million more expensive. And Ollie Watkins is a good pick, but around that price, I prefer someone like Antonio or Mope who are on penalties and will likely score more goals.
Right, right, right. I think that's a very valid point because this season it almost seems like penalties are the norm.
Yeah.
So I agree with that as well. What do you make of some strikers that I'm going to throw at you in terms of Callum Wilson, Raul Jimenez, Danny Ings? Obviously, I'm talking about two different price brackets here, but Callum Wilson at Newcastle is on penalties, and every goal Newcastle have scored till now, Wilson has either assisted or scored it.
Yeah.
So, what do you make of bringing him in? You've already spoken about Neil Maupay, and finally, what do you think of a lot of people who yet have Burnley defenders?
Okay, so in the strikers first, I think Callum Wilson is a pick who will score goals over time, but I tend to stay away from teams that aren't very good attackingly. So I know Newcastle aren't the best team in terms of creating chances, and they won't score goals every week. So I tend to stay away from those picks, even though if they score, it'll be Callum Wilson. I don't expect Newcastle to have a high number of shots per game, which is why the likelihood of them scoring is less. In terms of Jimenez, Wolves have actually been disappointing this season in terms of their underlying numbers. So last season, Jimenez was the number one striker in terms of big chances created. He kept getting shots in the box, but I think this season something is off with Wolves. I don't know if it's losing Matt Doherty or if it's Traore playing wing back or them not or losing Jota, but they're missing something in terms of their attack. They've had like 0.6 expected goals against Fulham, even though also against the last game, I forget who it was
Leeds.
against,
Leeds.
Leeds. And Jimenez was lucky to score a goal as well. He should have got red carded as well. So I've actually removed Jimenez out of my team for Harry Kane because I think even though they have three good fixtures, he's not looking like the Jimenez of old. Danny Ings, on the other hand, I think he's one of the most consistent and lethal strikers, and Southampton are playing really well. So if I have him, I'd keep him. And in terms of Burnley defenders, they finally got their first clean sheet of the season, and they have okay fixtures. I'm not against having someone like Charlie Taylor in your team because he'll get clean sheets over the course of the season, and they still have the same underlying numbers. So Burnley defense is a yes for me.
Right. Makes sense. I think again, like makes sense. Now let's move on to some of the bigger teams. Let's move on to Liverpool. Firstly, they have lost Allison. They've lost Virgil van Dijk. So definitely, anyone who has doubled up on Arnold and Robertson, or obviously if you have Van Dijk, you have to get him out. But if you have doubled up on Arnold and Robertson, this is a good time to save some money and move to a Chilwell or a Reguilon or even Alex Telles. If he plays, it looks like he has 80 goal contributions over the past 3 or 4 seasons he's played in. So if he starts, then that could be an option. He is on corner duty, it looks like, when he plays. So even that is an option. But also between Robertson and Arnold, I think it's time to move on from Arnold this season to Robertson. He's zero point 0.5 cheaper and his expected goals is higher than Arnold. His touches in the
Yeah.
penalty area is higher than Arnold, and the number of assists and points he's already gotten is higher than Arnold as well. It seems that he is becoming more of an attacking outlet for Liverpool rather than Arnold. So I think saving that zero point 0.5 now completely makes sense, and this is what I had done last week as well. More than that, Shivan, do you yet think Salah is the man to go for, or Mane, or both?
If you can afford both in your team, I think that's the perfect time to go for both because right now they've got favorable fixtures. They have Sheffield at home, and they have a couple of nice easy fixtures as well. Sadio Mane has the highest non-penalty expected goals after Dominic Calvert-Lewin this season, and he's actually looked like a beast this season. And I feel that with penalties, Salah is probably the better pick, but overall, I think both of them have a really good chance of scoring points over the next three fixtures, especially considering Mane's ownership is really low. It's under 10%.
Hmm.
So as a differential, if you have Mane along with Salah, then it's a great option for your team. And defensively, I think you need to get rid of Liverpool defense, but we need to be mindful that Fabinho is now going to be centre back. And if you saw the game against Ajax, he was actually sensational. So I think he's probably one of the top five centre backs in the league, actually, even though he's a central defensive midfielder, he's that good. So I don't think they'll be that bad defensively once Allison comes back. I still expect them to keep around 15, 16 clean sheets this season. So I still think clean sheets will come, but in the attacking numbers, Robertson is miles ahead of Trent Alexander-Arnold now.
Right. Well, Shwan, you mentioned having Salah and Mane both, but that eventually then comes down to what you do with the other two Manchester
Yeah.
teams. So, what do you think you should be doing with Man City with the number of injuries they're having and the uncertainty there is, and with Man United who seem to have hit some sort of form now, especially Bruno Fernandes seems to be delivering those points again because even against Newcastle, against Brighton, the last game, Bruno Fernandes is delivering the double digits.
Bruno Fernandes is a tough person to predict because at that price, 10.5 million, you can have Harry Kane and you can have Sergio Aguero, who seem more explosive. But Fernandes still he's relying on those penalties to score goals and those assists. It's not really he's not producing high amount of numbers. Yeah, he's creating a lot of chances, but I still don't think in the United team he's the best option. I think Marcus Rashford is a better option at 9.5 million. He got two assists and a goal against Newcastle, and he got that goal against PSG. So I prefer Rashford at 9.5 million, but for City assets, I think we'll have to wait for Sergio Aguero's fitness. If he is looking like the striker of old, and if Jesus is out for a long period of time, I think Aguero could be the best City option. Right now, we have De Bruyne injured, we have Rodri injured, we have Fernandinho also got an injury. So I'm really not sure about City attacking from an attacking sense, because they've been down on their chances created this season and goals scored per game. So for City, I think you can hold right now, but look at Aguero when their fixtures turn in game week 10.
Right. And finally, Shivan, to round off the sort of big teams, Arsenal and Chelsea, all the hype about Aubameyang in the initial weeks has obviously died down. Do you see any Arsenal player to bring into the team right now? And Chelsea, do you stick with Werner? If you don't have Werner, do you bring Werner in for Harry Kane even? Or for another striker?
He has 0.06 non-penalty expected goals. He's taking less than one shot a game this season. So I think stay away from Aubameyang and Arsenal for now, for the next three fixtures at least. But Chelsea, if you have Werner, I'd stick with him now, because I think he's playing striker. And with Ziyech and Pulisic coming back, it's going to be a good season for them. And they're starting to have their attacking potential. So stick with Werner, stay away from Aubameyang.
Right. So let's get some captaincy predictions in, Shivan. Which player are you looking at to, get the double digit hauls this week, and who are you going for captain?
The standout captaincy option this week has to be Mohamed Salah at home to Sheffield United, who've been terrible defensively, relegation contenders for sure. Apart from that, Harry Kane and Heung-min Son, either one of them against Burnley, or my differential would be Sergio Aguero. United City have a great record against West Ham. I think it's 12-0 in the last four meetings, and Sterling got a hat trick there last year in that same fixture. So Sterling or Aguero, both under 10% owned, they'd be my differential if you have them.
So between Kane and Son, Shivan, if I had to tell you, you could only pick one captain. Who are you going for?
I'd go for Harry Kane. He's looking like the better option right now.
Right. So I kind of agree with you. I also want to throw out Dominic Calvert-Lewin's name. I know he's playing away from home against Southampton, but he will definitely, I think, get a goal the way he's going right now. So I think DCL is one great option as well. And I personally feel that Kane might even be a better option than Salah this week. So watch out for that. And the Chelsea United game, of course, is the headline fixture. And I do see a lot of goals in that game, at least 3 or 4 goals in that game. So if you get your captaincy choice right, if the person who's scoring, you get your captaincy choice right,
Yeah.
then you can get lucky with that. So thanks, Shivan, for coming on. Let's see what happens. We are very bullish on the big teams doing well with certain differentials from the smaller teams. So let's see what you all think. Let us know your captaincy choice. Let us know what transfers you all are looking to make. The links to the United Star Fantasy Premier League Mini League are in the description. So do check that out. Do join it. And we'll see you all soon next week with another video. Till then, subscribe to the channel and like the video. Thank you.